Well. Hello, everyone. Let me take off the beautiful Cline bot. Hey, Nick, how's it going?
It's going good. I love this background.
I know, man. It's kind of like one of the best backgrounds we ever have made. How you doing?
We're doing good. How are you doing today, or this evening rather?
This evening is good. Today, let me bring some of our guests. I'm really excited because we've been talking about MiniMax M2 for so long, for the past couple of weeks, and I think it's one of those models that has been receiving a ton of attention. So today, I'm really honored and really excited to have joining us both Jade and Olive from MiniMax. Hey, how's it going?
Hi, good. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Jade from MiniMax.
Perfect.
I'm
I think let's start from like the formalities and everything. Can you both like tell us a little more of like who you are, what you do at MiniMax, and a little intro about yourselves?
Let me go first. Okay. So my name is Olive. I'm currently doing research at MiniMax and currently focusing on the scaling of reinforcement learning.
I'm Jade. I am the head of developer community for MiniMax, and I'm helping people to knowing about MiniMax model and helping them to working bad and using bad with using better with our model. Yeah.
Perfect. Nick, do you want to intro yourself? I know you're world famous, but still, the good practices.
I think it's probably good to introduce myself. I'm Nick, lead product marketing here at Cline. Really excited to have both with you and Olive and Jade on. I think like what you guys have been sharing also on Twitter is really interesting. You guys seem to have, I don't know, you're thinking about things on a different level. So really excited to have you guys on. Really excited to hear kind of what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I'm Juanpa. I'm a senior developer advocate here at Cline. And I probably am not on the Twitter side, but I'm much more interested in talking about the different blogs that you have been writing and how you are sharing the architecture, the ideas behind the model, and how you decided to make certain decisions for the model to make it like work best. But before we start, I just wanted to know what has been your life after the M2 launch. Like you launched M2 probably like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, more or less. How has it been for both of you to be part of that launch?
You want to go first, Jade? Wait, okay, I can go first. So, for me, it's very exciting, and because it's very exciting for me to see that developers in the community really love using it, so that it shows that M2 wasn't just a performance bump. It really it ranked very high on intelligence benchmarks, but we really saw that it ranked very top on, for example, OpenRouter, and people are actually enjoying using it, and we received many good feedbacks and expectations for our next generation models. So it's very exciting to, really develop the model kind of with the community to see what they want and to, kind of put the research into real use, and that's very exciting.
Cool. What about you, Jade?
Yeah, I'm very excited about like so many people, so many developers like in Cline and others like Cloud Code, and they discuss with M2 in Discord, in Reddit, in X. They're talking about like what they vibe coding with M2 is very good, like programming and agentic work and so on. So we are very happy to see this very good feedback. Yeah.
Nice. I wonder, like, specifically when you are thinking of making like models, like what is like the idea behind them? Like what is the driving force for you to make like these models, and what do you look after when you release them?
So for M2, we really wanted to develop a model that people can actually put it into agentic workflows, and it's we lean towards utility. For example, we cared about stability. We cared about if it was efficient, it was fast, right? The responsiveness and stuff. So, so we required it to be not only very high on benchmarks, but also, very scalable, for example, and you can apply it to different agentic workflows and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Was it kind of? Yeah, go for it.
I was say kind of double clicking on that. You mentioned that M2 is more for agentic workflows than M1. What goes into like the training or the post training process for you guys to make it that way? Like, how do you, and to what degree are you testing based on benchmarks versus just testing based on vibes? Tell me more about that process when you kind of turn the gear to make it more of an agentic model.
Yeah, sure. We really changed our experiments and decision workflow from M1 to M2. So what we looked at was not, especially during post-training, right? It was not only benchmarks, but also we have many internal developers that actually use our models and then give feedbacks to us. And Jade organized that. So maybe she can talk more about it later. But we really received many good feedbacks from people who actually use it. And we try to think what model behaviors would advance that experience. For example, interleaved thinking. We thought of, well, what model behaviors would let the agent or let the model do long horizon tasks without losing the thinking with reflections and by stuff like that. So, and then we construct our data into those model behaviors that we expect the model to do, and then we train it, and then we iterate our model during post-training.
So tell us about tell us about it.
Oh, okay. So when I in M2's post-training periods, I'm very focusing on how M2 is performs good in coding. Yes, because I'm a developer, so I'm very focused about so what kind of like task where M2 will perform good. So like I organize some kind of like we have I am the front-end developer, and we have like a back-end developer and a mobile app developer and or some other programming language persons. So sorry. So we need this person to help us to like evaluate what M2 performs actually good in the actual coding tasks. Like I need M2 to know what the fails in these programs, and it can to like read whole programs and to know so how this program to do in the coding task. And like I want to add some features or I want to fix some bugs, I need M2 will actually know what it's doing and what it can do, like generate code to be meet the requirement what I ask.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's what like we doing much better in M2 than M1 because we need to like get feedback to our post training. And like it can be reward and can be doing much better in the next chain. Yeah.
Totally. I want to add on to that a little bit. So give me an example. Jade actually helped out with a lot of front-end data construction, and that helped a lot. Because, for example, as a research engineer, I didn't have a lot of front-end experience. I didn't know, like, for example, in the process, the model did something that's not good. And then Jade, as an expert, comes in and really helped out. So I think that's one of the takeaways.
Yeah.
As a researcher, like, can you tell me a little bit about what it's like working with, it sounds like you have a really great kind of feedback loop for feedback from your team, which, and you guys have like a really, a lot of people working on things that are not just models. And so you have a lot of engineers that are able to kind of test and dog food these models. Can you tell me what like, as a researcher, what it's like getting that qualitative feedback versus, you mentioned Jade set up some of the structured data, the front-end engineers. As a researcher, which is useful when? How do you like delineate between these two kinds of data sets?
Right. I think the key point is how you design the data construction. For example, how you design the query construction set, and how you validate if something. So it's more like from the qualitative to the quantitative, and that's where research engineers usually comes in. And it's more like we help out them. It's more like, for example, I help out Jade instead of they help out us.
Yeah, and we also consider about like what like M2 actually coding good in different kind of coding tools like Cline and so on. So we need to actually evaluate like M2 in Cline in our post training period. Yes.
Yeah, totally. I wonder specifically, you mentioned a little bit of like adding interleaved thinking. Maybe not everyone is like familiar with it. Can you like help us share more about like interleaved thinking, and from your perspective as a researcher, like how did you decide to add it to your model as part of these agentic workflows?
Oh, actually, we had during the early phase of development, we had some discussions with Professor Jun Xianhe and Wen Huchen, so two professors, and we thought of like what information does a model need to actually do a very complex and long horizon agentic tasks. And for example, it has to use tools, and we all know that it has to interact not only with text but also with the environment. For example, for coding tasks, it could be like the terminal, for example, and for researching tasks, it has to search very deep and stuff like that. And we also thought that the model also needed reasoning, and it also needs to think about what to research, what to analyze, right? And then after getting those, for example, search feedback, for example, the terminal outputs, we also think, okay, the model then need to reason for example, for another step to see if, oh, I need to search for another thing, if I need to use another tool. And that's why we came up with, or like stick with interleaved thinking. So we wanted the model to use the tool, to think what tools to use the tool, and then think to look at the feedback, and then think what's good or not good, and what it needs to do more of, and use more tools, and then come at an answer or like a feedback to the user that's the model has thought of it internally for a very long time.
So kind of translating that back, make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So is what you're saying, the model will think, and then it'll decide what tool to use, and then it'll think again to confirm that was correct, and then it'll actually use the tool.
Right. That's how human work, right? Like we look at, for example, I search something, I look at the article, I think of it, and then for example, as a researcher, I think of it, and then maybe I code something, and then I find, oh, okay, it doesn't work out. I continue searching it online, or like I continue write more code.
So then as part of these interleaved thinking, like it tries the tool or it tries to do something. If it works, it continues. If it doesn't work, it pulls back and then tries another way.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that. I don't know. For kind of like all of these different like attention mechanisms, did you modify the mechanisms, or how do you support like reasoning traces like efficiently? Like how do you ensure like these pieces are working together?
Right. That's so interleaved thinking is quite different from, for example, just reasoning models. So just reasoning models, you don't have tools, and here we have tools. So it's more like a multi-turn interaction between the model and the environment. And here comes the tricky part. The model need to know what it thought of during the last turn of interaction with the environment. So I think we actually have a figure, right, Jade, to have that the difference between the different thinking patterns, and you can share more on how to use it to really unlock it.
Yeah, no, I think I got it here. Let me see.
Yes,
if I can...
yes. Because we introduced interleaved thinking in M2 leg. Yeah, so M2 when you're using API or something like
Is this the image you were looking for?
Are you showing? Yeah, yes, you got these figures. Yes. So yes, when you want to like as said, Olive said. So when you like get something like from the last session, and you get the thinking, and you need to like get this thinking and combine them into the next message to the M2 model, and it can be like things like, when I thinking in the last term, I thinking about using these tools, or I have get this search, and I can combine this thinking in last terms and to think in the next terms. Yes. So when you want to use M2 better, so you need to combine the thinking tag, the content into the next term message, so that M2 can think together. Yes. And the next one is like M2 is very good with tool using. So you need to like we have figured out that some kind of like tool coding tools using like XML tool use. When you need to use it better, you need to use it with JSON. So the JSON format make it more powerful and more formatable for tool using, and for M2 to knowing about what kind of tool can be used, and what kind of like web search or visual understanding tools can be used in the every term thinking. Yeah.
Kind of to that point, Jade, are there any things people or as developers, whether they're building with MiniMax M2 or they're using it in Code Agent like Cline, anything they should know about the model that maybe it behaves differently, or there are ways to get the most out of it that they might not get with other models? Just any like peculiarities or tricks with MiniMax M2?
Sorry?
Are there any kind of tricks with MiniMax M2 or different behaviors that you think developers should know when either using the model in a Code Agent
Yes.
or building with it standalone?
Yes. So I think developers, so first they should treat M2 as an agent. They can use tools, but not only a chatbot. And second, I think they should keep the loops short and bounded, because interleaved thinking works better when each step is lightweight. And second, and third, they can structure their prompts, their context, like different kind of first, I need to do this. Second, you need to follow this structure, and the third, so like a summary, like something. So M2 will have a strong context skills, so that if you have a structured prompt, M2 will perform better. And the first is the four is that you need to like when you want to do better, you can prepare some practical and powerful tool for M2 to use, like web search, visual understanding, and something tool else. Yeah. And also like browser use, computer use, and other tool. Yeah.
Nice. Olive, when you're trying to like, you also kind of like explore, and I guess you use the model a lot. What were some of like those small things that you noticed that the model does different from other models that you had experience with, or that you have kind of like worked with in the past?
Oh, I think something funny is that on the personality side, I feel like M2 is more conservative.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been tracking some, models, playing stocks and stuff. I feel like it makes decisions very so it thinks a lot before making decisions. It really looks into, for example, the materials that it searches online, for example, the US government, blah, 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 and then what I need to decide on my stock and stuff like that. And for that model behavior, I didn't really see in other people, not other people. Okay, I'm already taking them as real people, but in other models thinking. So I feel like M2 was really good in searching deep information and then using it into decisions.
Yeah. I just want to take a little bit of like a parenthesis here. Some people here in chat. Hi to Sean Chu, to Kevin from Malaysia, and I was saying amazing to see the female power from MiniMax. Cool, thank you all. And I'm gonna do the streamer thing and say like, chat, if you have questions, just leave them there. We're gonna go to them at the end. Just let us know. We're happy to bring them in. So can you repeat a little bit of what you said of like MiniMax being more conservative in their personality? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's just that it likes analyzing. It likes using the logic and information. And I think that's because we during training we actually paid a lot of attention to the environment, because one different thing between a agentic model from a reasoning model is how it can look at the environment using environment signals for its own decision to achieve some goal. So we really paid attention to that during our training. So I think it's pretty good as it turns out.
A couple of things. So this first question, that was interesting. He said you kind of made something because it's conservative. It like searches deeper or digs deeper for context. Do you think that the model is, compared to other models, maybe slower to make assumptions or give you an answer? Do you, like, when you say conservative, do you think it like requires more information or feels like it requires more information than other models?
I don't think so. Well, during my training, because I do reinforcement learning, right? During my training, I can, if I really limit the number of turns, so the number of tool call turns, it doesn't really degrade the performance that much.
Gotcha. And the second question, I thought it was interesting how you contrasted agentic models to reasoning models. I know we talked about this a little bit before, but could you kind of go into that again? I think that's really kind of helpful, at least for me to hear.
Right.
Kind of, is it about the environment that agentic models are aware of? Like, could you kind of contrast the two and how you guys see these different models?
Right. So for reasoning models, so it can only see, for example, the user query its own thinking, if you think about the context, its own thinking, or like any past turns of thinking, and or like just one turn of tool using, or like the environment feedback. But for these agentic models with interleaved thinking, it can actually see a lot of it, environment, feedback. And for example, let me give an example. So for example, it does something wrong with a tool call. It can actually react to it and make it right. I think that's one key difference.
So you can detect, like, for example, external perturbations as well, like things like that.
Right.
Probably were part of the environment, and
Right.
they just like it's able to kind of find that information itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make like the model more robust? And how do you diagnose things like errors, and what information from the environment is useful?
What information from the environment? Oh, during training or like data construction, we actually try to do perturbations on different chains of the trajectory. So, for example, environment is just one part of it. We do a lot of perturbations on that side too. So I wouldn't say any one environment feedback is important. I would say all of them is important, because we care about generalization a lot. It has to learn to react to all the environments.
Kind of going off these environments, obviously there are lots of different environments that you guys are presumably having developers deploy MiniMax M2 into. Obviously for Cline, that's, in some cases the CLI, in some cases VS Code. But what are the other environments that you guys train the model for? How do you think about that? I'm really curious about that. That seems like an interesting problem.
Actually, we have an agent product in our company.
Yeah.
That's one really really good application for our model. So for that, for example, the environment would be the internet, the search internet. It could be some database if you access it to it, if you connect your own. And also, I'm not sure if I can say this here, but we've been actually using the model to help with our own work. So the environment is our internal workplace. Yeah. I'm not sure if I can disclose this.
Is that being turned into the model, or is that just
So for example, I can connect it to my docs, and then I can say that, okay, I've been writing this code. I have this experiment result. Can you format it into a document for me? The document itself is an experiment, is an environment.
Yeah, I also use this intern agent. Like for example, oh, I got a group ID from a user, and I need to for like two months ago, I need to open Grafana and type this group ID and search like, oh, this is the log, this is not the log. So for now, I can ask the intern agent. So help me to search about this group ID, and these users have some error when it intern this query. So like 1 minute ago, and so the agent will give me the feedback. And I see, this error, and maybe this user made like he made like error like I can show it the documents, like it can help the user to like get better with our models. Yeah.
I find it like very interesting that it seems like as an AI model lab, there's like some secrets into like if you're using the tool or not for your own work. I mean, I kind of like take a look at Nick right now, and I'm like, Nick, you are probably one of the most power users of Cline. Like
I know the restraint.
We absolutely use it for everything beyond code, and I think it's like very useful, especially for like dog feeding. Or a friend of mine says that dog feeding sounds awful, so drinking your own champagne, where like you need to test out your own tools and see how it works. Is that something like is very very common in like in the MiniMax team, where you're like testing these tools yourself, doing it for like work or some like other stuff? Or do you think there's like this feeling of, like maybe we shouldn't be using AI so much internally?
I think it's very common, right? It's, as someone who works in this industry, it's very common to use AI myself to improve the work efficiency. I think that's fair.
I know that you both like have been very plugged into the community. Like every time that I go to Twitter right now /X, I see some MiniMax thing happening all the time. Either it's like from Jade or Olive or MiniMax's account, or Skylar, I think is the other person that I see a lot. I wonder, like, what are some interesting projects people are building with MiniMax? Like, if I'm looking for some inspiration to use MiniMax, where or what should I be doing with it?
Jade, you want to
Yeah.
comment on
So yeah, I think so for M2 there are so many like interesting coding projects that post in X. And so we not only have M2 coding, yes. So we have to very good with some like coding tools like IDEs, coding plugin, and like a CLI and so on. So we also have like MiniMax audio and video models. They can not only to like generate directly by API, it also have MCP. So when M2 have tool use capability, so you can use our MCP like add them to our M2 tool use session, so you can like coding with and like doing some agentic works with like video generation, audio generation, music generation, and so on. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Is there any particular songs or like generation that you've been listening to lately?
Oh, I have seen like one of actual project has posted in GitHub, like one people using like M2 with our audio model, like generate a mobile app, and it can be like prompting type of sentence and to describe what you're thinking today, and it will be generate music and directly to send to your mobile app. Yeah, it's a very good like project, like when people thinking like putting an idea and using M2 and our music generation model into a mobile app, and it can be released in GitHub and announce in Twitter, and help every Twitter want to like using this app to like I want to generate music by one sentence within an app. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Tell us a little bit more about like the kind of like the experience of like MiniMax M2 in Cline. Like, how has that been on your side? I mean, we got a lot of excitement when like people started to see the model, and giving it for free for a couple of weeks was incredible for
Yes.
people to test it out. But on your side, like, how does that look like? How does it look to have like Cline connected and being able to see people starting to use the project or the model?
Oh yeah, we actually we are very exciting about like people using Climb and using M2 in Climb, and we think like Climb is one of the most popular coding tool in the community, and many people like firstly don't know what is MiniMax, but MiniMax is has been a 3 hours company, and we want people know that about MiniMax is very good at large language model, and so the first time we have published M2 with for free for many people to know M2 is a very good model, like in the coding task, and now we think like many developer in Discord, in Reddit of Cline, they have figure out, they have idea like, oh, M2 is a very good model and with very fast inference and lower prices. They want to use M2 model in their daily programming task because M2 is very lower prices, and with like coding plan, it could like support them like doing like several project daily work, and they can program together with very lower cost and with very powerful coding capabilities. Yes, and we want work with coding community together and to help like Climb and others coding tools like support much more powerful coding tools for these developers. They can use these tools in their daily programming better. Yes, and like we have like submit some PR to client to help the client can support interleaved thinking and the tool use better. Yes, this is what we are doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that brings me kind of a nice question, and I also I love that you guys are taking the initiative to just make a PR in the Cline repo. We're open source. Yeah. I love that you guys see things could be better as part of the model. Just go ahead and fix it. That's amazing. We want honestly everybody who has a model in Cline feel welcome to do that. But I'd love to talk about open source. Obviously, Cline is open source. That's been a big part of our story, and I'd love to hear from you guys what being open source on the model side, means in terms of the community, in terms of the product, just how that changes your approach. Yeah, I would love to hear more about open source, what that means for MiniMax.
Well, on the model development side, I can share a bit. Yeah. So for example, we communicate with people from the community, for example, SG Long, and for example, a lot of community, and then we share our views, and then we think of what can be the next steps on the technical side, right? So and then we contribute together. I guess that's the way we collaborate on the model side.
Do you think it?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Jade.
Yeah. So we also like communicate with like different kind of like Cline, like others, and like VRM, and like other agentic products. They can work together to like build a better application for many people using different tools and application with M2. Yes.
And do you guys feel like being open source, like what are do you feel like it like helps you innovate faster? Do you feel like it allows you to build better models because you have this feedback loop?
Yeah, I just love building more things with people who actually love it and who are passionate about models in these applications. Yeah.
Awesome. And do you guys expect people to, I know there's been a lot of chatter about some companies that have taken like GLM 4.6 and tuned it for their own agentic coding environment. Do you guys expect people to do the same thing with MiniMax M2? Is this kind of a motion for you guys, or you want the model to kind of stand on its own?
Oh, I don't have expectations myself. Just if it's a good model, people would use it, people would do experiments on it.
Yeah,
we can work things out together. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you found like any, like this openness brings a lot of like value? Like, what are some examples of recommendations or work that people from the community have given back to the model itself?
I think given back to the model itself, that would we received a lot of advice from the community that we will better in our next generation model. Yeah.
Yeah, we think we have received many feedback in different kind of communities. Like in some kind of is actual programming feedback, like maybe I'm too doing not good in Golang or something. Oh, maybe I'm too well not have some like kind of different kind of like language mix like arrow. We can give this feedback back to our next generation model training and like to improve them better. And some kind of feedback is about like inference, like we have some bug in like transformers and VRM support. Oh, maybe we can fix it now. Yes. So I think lots of feedback can help us doing better in model training and like in support many people, many users to using our models. Yeah, in different ways like API or open source model, like inference supporter and so on.
How do you separate, and this is a very common problem with like open source in general, how do you separate what brings value, what is signal and what is noise when you have these open source models and you start hearing all of this feedback from the community? How do you choose?
On the model side, we usually look at the feedback very carefully, and we sometimes, if it's something goes wrong with the model, we do it by ourselves and we see if that's true. We think why the model behaves this way. We think of if that's something that we can improve on for our pipeline, for example, the data pipeline, or for example, how we train the model and stuff like that, or how we infer the model. So we think of problems systematically. so that model really reflects some weakness of our development process, and we'll really fix it in our next generation.
Nice. So it's a little bit of like, you do really go through all of those like comments, you go through it and start making those decisions.
Yes, they are very valuable. Very
Love
valuable.
it. So coming back to kind of like the community and the ecosystem piece, like I think, like sometimes making models is like making music, where musicians like want people to hear their music in these like very specific speakers so that they can really get the full feeling of the sound that they have created. And in that sense, I feel like sometimes like labs that are creating these models have things they would wish developers knew about the model, but they kind of like, some of these things get lost in kind of like a sea of like tweets, a sea of like different models coming out. And for all of you, like, what is one thing that, in the same way that like musicians would like you to play these like music in the most expensive like speakers, for you, like, what are some of the things you want developers to know about M2 that probably people are missing out on? Like, what are these small things that probably people are not taking a look into, or they don't really are spending some time like using the model in this way?
I would still say interleaved thinking, because that actually happened. So as I mentioned, right, the model would look at, well, it will use many tools, look at many tool feedbacks, and then think of it, and then use tools for maybe next round. And then what we discovered during our launch was that some developers, when using it, they didn't pass back, or like some scaffolds didn't support passing back the thinking of the model during the last tool calling, and that would degrade the model performance, because it can't see what it itself thought of before. Yeah, so that's one thing.
I believe we were actually guilty of that. I'm glad we got it sorted out.
Nick, have you used it before?
Yes, yeah. I was first, so like something's not right here. But Era got to it, thankfully.
Yeah.
Back to the interleave thing. I'm just trying to kind of understand conceptually again. Is it essentially like almost like the model is like writing down notes for itself, like thinking through in like these little tidbits, and then it kind of keeps those on hand? Is that kind of the idea?
Right. It's kind of some context, right? So, but it's just without many advanced compression, but it's like its own trace, its own state. It needs to know its own state during this action, and that state should consist of the thinkings of past actions.
How does that work? How does it know the steps? Like, how does it generate the steps, or know where it's currently is standing at? Because like Cline, I think like with focus chain, that is like very valuable, because you can like auto tracks itself. But how does that work with interleave thinking?
Jake, did you have something to comment on this question, or should I?
So you can go ahead.
Oh, I can go ahead. Okay. So I think, well, so in the general use case, right, it depends on what tools you connect it to.
Mm-hmm.
And then and it depends on the query. And then I think the question was that, how does he know what to do? Was that the question, if I understand it correctly?
And where it's at and what to do?
That was all in the training, I would say. So
Okay.
as I said, we integrated a lot of expert experience, a lot of expert feedback internally, and then we did do a couple of iterations inside to to observe the model's behavior and then alter it a bit by, for example, changing our data or like constructing more data.
Cool. I appreciate that. Yeah. Jay, do you have like any specific thing you would like to see more developers using from M2?
Yeah. So I think one of things like very surprised me is that some people said M2 is very perform good at game programming, which is much more out of our expectation, because we actually know focusing on game programming, but M2 things perform very good at designing game and using like C++ and like to design a shader, and it can be used like in design a shader like a line and or some kind of a radar line and something. It can be like very logic with algorithm and to design and to be a shader used in a game task. Yeah, and it is one of things we are very surprised, and I think that is maybe kind of M2 has learning some kind of gaming data in training. It has some ability to know what I can do in C++ and to design like game kernel and a game function, and it can be used in this kind of project. Yeah.
Shifting gears a little bit. So I'd love to know from you guys. We're actually we're about to release MiniMax M2 into the Cline provider, and they make it free again. And Cline, we're doing it like right now. So it'll be after this live stream right around the end. Anybody who wants to use MiniMax M2 in Cline can do so for free. What we would love to know is what kind of feedback is useful to you guys from developers. As much as we'd love people to use Cline, use the model, we also want to make sure this is useful for you guys. So what should developers, how can they give you feedback? Where, how can you guys get the most out of this?
Oh, we have many kind of community. We have our Discord and we have our Twitter account. You can like and me. I also in Cline Discord, and I have say hi in Cline Discord, and you can like DM to me, and like and you can also talk about M2 like what is good and what is better, what is bad, and you can show us your good showcase and what the problem you made in when using M2 to us, and you can also post like some kind of Twitter message in Twitter, and we will search, we will read people's feedback, because we think it's very good kind of feedback for our next generation model training. So we are continuing looking at this community. Yeah.
And one thing to note, if people want, they can just post it on X. We have one researcher in our team that looks at X every single day and search MiniMax M2 and sort by latest and look at the feedbacks.
Nice.
Yeah, and
so we're good with that.
Yeah, we also have our GitHub and Hugging Face account, and we have our MiniMax M2 repo, and you can also like submit an issue or create a discussion in Hugging Face, like I have made something blah 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 blah, and you guys need to see about this to help me to fix this problem. Yeah.
Cool. And I love seeing here Caleb, a good friend of ours, is here checking out the live stream. Caleb, if you have any questions from the MiniMax team, he makes great educational content on YouTube. We're reaching out the last few. Oh yeah, go for it, Dang. What do you got?
I was just gonna shout out Caleb. Yeah, if anybody wants to check out some really great explanatory content on AI, on models, everything going on, check out Caleb's YouTube channel. It's great. It's great stuff.
Yeah, and we have more people here. Go Cline, go M2. Amazing. Thank you all. we're reaching the last few minutes, so folks, if you have questions here, you can leave them in chat. If not, we can just vibe for a few extra minutes on some of the questions that we get from the community right now. Is, for example, trying to understand like the nature of the free model, and if it's kind of like a similar experience that the paid model, or if you have found like any difference between each of them.
Sorry.
So some folks have been trying like the free model that you have available. I wonder, like, in that sense, like, what are some of the characteristics of like the free model, or do they have like any like limits on how they can use it? Can you tell us about that?
They are actually same model with free version and the stable version. The only difference is like the TPM and the RPM, like some kind of when you like using free model, they will be meet like a little bit limit when you do like doing programming in very long term, like in I think you can see the detail limitation in our document in our website. I think it may be like for 5 hours will meet a limit. Yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Well, yeah, go for it, Olive.
Yeah, this the same model, just some generous rate limit and depending on traffic and stuff, and yeah.
So you still have like the opportunity of using it, y'all. Like, you still have the opportunity to build really cool stuff with it, and get to test out the. For me, what was impressive was like the speed was like really nice when I started using M2 earlier last week. So really happy with it. But yeah.
Right, and yeah, if there's any feedbacks, just post on Twitter or like put it in the Discord with Cline, and then we can get the feedback and we'll work on M2.1 a little preview.
Well, then you know where to go. Nick, should we wrap this up? Any last words of advice for people watching?
I guess just go check out it's 3.37.1, our second release today. Go check out MiniMax M2 if you haven't yet. It's free in Cline right now. And if you use it, find Jade or find Olive, give them some feedback, let them know what you think. It's kind of just us using the models makes them better to some degree. I know Olive does a lot of work too, but yeah. And also thank you, Olive. Thank you, Jade, so much for coming on. Was really excited for this one. Appreciate you guys making time for it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, yeah, thank you. We are so great, so happy to have you.
And I'm excited to see how models work on Cline.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, then, y'all, thank you so much for everyone watching on Twitter, LinkedIn, people connecting from Malaysia, which I think is like 3 a.m. for them. Or, well, not that early, right? It's like 7 or 8 a.m. right now. But happy to see all of these folks like joining from different parts of the world. Caleb and everyone that is there in YouTube, thank you so much for jumping in, and we'll see you all next time.